Hello, and welcome back to learning the laws of loving kindness and the ideas behind it together. I'm excited to continue learning with you. Today we're going to talk about how chesed, kindness, is really the basis of creation and why we need it in this world. So how is this so? If God dealt with us simply just as a midah, as a character trait of din, of judgment, we would never be able to survive because we're all human and we make mistakes. We make many mistakes. And if everything was exactly midah keneged midah, exactly tit for tat from God, we wouldn't be able to survive. We wouldn't be able to sustain ourselves. As soon as we would do a sin, that's it, we'd be done for. But God created the world that He has so much more compassion on us than He does judgment. We get so much more than we deserve. And the Chafetz Chaim explains it as he uses a pasuk from Yeshaya, which says the throne will then be established with kindness, that God's throne is established with kindness. And he gives a parable to understand this. He said, imagine you have a chair. It's very unsturdy, it's wobbly. One of the legs on the chair is a lot shorter than the other. 3 legs on the chair. If a person sits on it, they're gonna fall and they're gonna get hurt. It can't sustain a person and their weight on such a wobbly chair. But then you take something to put it under the chair. You take a book or you take something to level out that wobbly chair, and suddenly the chair becomes sturdy. He says, what is the book that is put into the world to, make it stable? It's chesed. Hashem does so much kindness for us, even when we sin, even when we don't deserve it, even when we sin for generations and generations. He is constantly doing kindness for us. His kindness never ends. And God's kindness goes from every single aspect of life, not just for humans. He is taking care of the smallest creatures, the amoeba. He's making sure that every creature has food and has a place and has different things on a small level and on a huge level. But there's only one creature that God commands to walk in His image. No animal, no rocks, only a human. God says to man, you should walk in my image and you should emulate me and you should be like me. And the more you like God, the closer we feel to God. But also, the more that we act like God and we do chesed for others and kindness for others, the more we're actually bringing into the world the thing which sustains the world. So when we do kindness and we think like, oh, I'll do it, but it's so annoying, we're actually doing something that's really, really good for us, that's really good for our world. And the Torah says that when you do chesed, when you do kindness, you arouse Hashem's kindness. The more kindness we bring into the world, we make it a kinder place. Then God too, now it's a kinder place. He brings more kindness. It's a flow. It's a back and forth. But then he says something, the Chafetz Chaim, even a step further. He says when someone decides to be a person who hates kindness, who doesn't like chesed, doesn't want to extend themselves ever, he said what they're doing is actually harmful to themselves because they're squashing that part of themselves that's godly. There's a part of you that is made in the image of God. And when you totally neglect that part of yourself, you're also neglecting a certain godliness that's within you. And when you don't view others through the lens of kindness and chesed, you're also then not viewing others as godly. And once we become in a world where I stop viewing myself as godly and I don't view others as godly, then we have a big problem. And we live in a world now where it's very common that, a lot of, different minorities and groups feel like they don't count and their lives don't matter and nobody's lives matter. And we have all these, solutions for how to fix that. Perhaps one of the greatest solutions is looking into the Torah and starting to view the life out of the lens of more kindness. Now, I know that's not as popular. It's not as cool as being able to throw one-liners at people and be quick and on the ball. But if you start viewing yourself as godly, and then by viewing yourself as godly, you view others as godly, you'll have no reason to want to hurt another person, no matter who they are, no matter what they are, no matter what they look like, no matter what they don't look like, it won't matter because they're a human. And we were doing a series earlier in the year, as I mentioned, on Shmir Salashon, watching our speech, and it ties very much into chesed. If I view somebody else as godly, then when I speak about them, I'm gonna feel kind of bad. I'm gonna feel sensitive. Like, this is another human that I'm talking about. Don't I feel bad that I'm making fun of another human? Do I feel bad at all? Or that, chesed is so much more than just acts of kindness, being able to forgive another person, being able to let go, if somebody doesn't include you in something, being able to be, less judgmental on someone and try to see a bigger picture of them. The more that we see people as godly, that we're not animals, but we're actually humans, and we have a different role than all other creations. We have a role to walk in the image of God, and we walk in the image of God by viewing the world through the lens of love and kindness, and ourselves through that lens as well. By doing that, automatically we will treat others with respect. And I said from the start that I really wanted to do this topic because I felt like I was looking around and the world, it seems to be getting darker at times. There seems to be a lot of negativity, a lot of hatred from all ends, not even one specific place. There's just a lot of emotion and passion out there. And passion is good, but it's good as long as you're looking at the world and you're looking at it as other people in a positive way, as a human, as someone that you want to do good for, no matter who they are, no matter what their beliefs, no matter, how much you have in common with them or not, they're a human being, and we want to be sensitive to that. And as much as we do kindness, God will in turn do that same kindness. We make the world lighter, then it's even lighter. It's lighter to bring even more kindness into it and more kindness into it. That's ultimately what this world survives on. That's what this world exists on. And it's God's kindness that makes us even able to be here today and, live with all the gifts that we are given. So I hope that you can take this and try this week to just look at people through a little bit of a different lens. The lens that they are created in the image of God. They are good, although they might have become overcome with bad. I'm not saying everybody is good right now in their actions, but in their deep down in their essence, there is a piece of godliness in them. And hopefully with that outlook, we can be more positive, kinder, happier people, and we can bring more kindness into the world. Have a great